Today, we're going to tackle two of the most profound words in any language, words we often use without really thinking about them: soul and spirit. We tend to use them interchangeably, right? You hear about soul music or the human spirit, but is there a real, functional difference between them? Or, is it all just semantics? Well, for most of human history, the answer was a clear, resounding no. They are absolutely not the same thing. Ancient traditions saw them as distinct parts of our inner architecture. And get this, understanding that difference was the key to understanding ourselves. Okay, so let's dive into this. We're going to look at the original linguistic blueprints for these ideas. I mean, where did this whole distinction even come from? It really starts with the very words themselves. If you go back to the Hebrew of the Old Testament, the distinction is fundamental. The word nephesh, or soul, literally means a breathing creature. It's your individual I, the part that feels, desires, and has passions. On the other hand, you have ruach, or spirit, which means wind or breath. See, it's not personal. It's the universal divine breath that gives that individual's soul life in the first place. And what's so fascinating is that this pattern, it just repeats across all these foundational languages. The Greeks had psyche for the individual mind and pneuma for the spiritual force. Latin, anima, and spiritus. Even in Sanskrit, you see this super clear line between the jiva, the individual soul, and atman, the universal spirit. It's like there's a consistent global blueprint here. So this split in the language led directly to two major theological models for what a human being actually is. You have the dichotomist view, which sees us as two parts, a material body, and one single immaterial part that you can call either soul or spirit. But then you have the trichotomist view, which argues, no, we are three-part beings. And this three-part model gives us a brilliant functional blueprint. Think of it like this. The body is our hardware, our interface with the physical world. The soul is the operating system, our mind, our will, our personality. And the spirit, well, that's the Wi-Fi antenna, our highest faculty that connects us to the spiritual realm, to God consciousness. Now, that three-part model is just one blueprint. In the world of Jewish mysticism, Kabbalah, this inner architecture gets way more complex, more layered. Here, the soul isn't just one thing. It's a whole spectrum of consciousness. So Kabbalah describes the soul as a kind of 5-level ladder you climb. At the very bottom is nephesh, the basic animal soul that just keeps your body running. Then you've got ruach, which is your emotional personality. Above that is neshama, the intellectual self. And then you get to the really high levels, Haya and Yekida, which are pretty much beyond our normal awareness. They represent a direct, unified connection with the divine. All right, so we've looked at language and theology. Now let's explore a tradition that turns all this inner architecture into a hands-on project. Freemasonry. They use the tools of a stonemason as metaphors for, literally, building a better self. Their most famous symbol, the square and compasses, is a fantastic illustration of this relationship between our two natures. The square represents the earthly, material, physical part of you. The compasses, which you use to draw a perfect circle, represent the heavenly, spiritual part of us. So when a person first starts their journey as an entered apprentice, the square is placed on top of the compasses. This is a symbol of the unrefined person, where our material needs and our physical desires are totally in the driver's seat. Then, in the second degree, things start to shift. The points of the square and the compass are now intertwined. This represents a person who's in the middle of their journey. The material and the spiritual are in a state of balance, but often they're also in a state of struggle for who's in charge. And then, finally, as a master mason, the positions are completely flipped. The compasses are now on top of the square. This symbolizes the ultimate goal of all that work, getting to a place where your spiritual nature governs and guides your material self. This whole journey is also shown in another powerful metaphor, the ashlar, or a building stone. The idea is that we all start out as a rough ashlar, an imperfect, unworked stone. And through moral effort and learning, the goal is to smooth and perfect ourselves into a perfect ashlar, one that's fit to be part of a greater spiritual temple. So after this whole journey through language, theology, and symbolism, what have we learned? What's the crucial point that brings all these different blueprints together? Well, if you look across all these traditions, a really clear picture starts to emerge. Both the soul and the spirit are seen as non-physical parts of us that, it's believed, survive the death of the body. And crucially, they're not separate. They're deeply interconnected, working together to make up the complete inner you. But it's their differences that are truly illuminating. Let's break it down, because this is key. Look at the source. The soul is individual. It's unique to you. The spirit, that's universal, a divine spark we all share. Then there's function. The soul is the processor for your thoughts and feelings, while the spirit is that antenna, receiving higher inspiration. And finally, at their very nature, your soul is your unique personality, but the spirit is the life-giving force within that personality. So, to put it simply, the soul is the personal you. It's the seat of your unique identity. It's the part of you that thinks, feels, chooses, and remembers. It's really the sum total of your experiences and your character. And the spirit? That's the universal spark of life inside you. It's the divine animating principle, the part that connects you to something much, much greater than your individual self. It's the source of life itself. Ultimately, you can think of the relationship like a building and its architect. The soul is the structure that's being built, your character, your personality. And the spirit is the divine blueprint, the light that guides the construction, making sure it's built true and strong. And look, this ancient distinction, it isn't just some dusty history lesson or a philosophical debate. It's a living blueprint for self-awareness. It leaves us with a very practical, very personal question. If your soul is a project under construction, what kind of person are you choosing to become? What are you building?